also saying they do have several other responsibility alongside the need to industrialize and to have business going on. But let's look at the communities themselves. I know there's a project going on where visit to some of these communities that are like the epicenter, where it comes to them like the ground zero. They feel the impact, the environment feels the impact, the people feel the impact. And I was looking at a finding that was done and looking at how it was impacting on the health of women, on children, on animals, and all of that, which it's almost like gradual. That's why I say it's a silent killer. You don't just flare gas and people just drop and dead overnight. But over time, we get to see the impact.
In some of these communities, you have women who are, or people who are artisans, people who are farmers. Farming is their livelihood, right? 10, 20, 30 years ago, they would almost, and in one of the communities in Bayelsa where we are focusing, 10, 20 years ago, their harvest is almost 10, 20 bags of cassava. Let's pick cassava as even our example. If you have to grow cassava, it's a rooted crop. So it means it grows under the ground. Now you are also exploring oil around that region, which automatically means that it corrupts the soil, right? The cassava does not grow as much as it should.
Because it's not getting
because it's not getting that much nutrient. The leaves that are probably trying to get rainfall and everything, the rain pattern is being changed. Over time, the black soot or the fumes from those gas rest on the leaves, so the whole photosynthesis or ecosystem is being disrupted. So it means that a woman that would get 20 or 30 bags of cassava from a farm would almost be reducing gradually to 10, and now she has to manage it. And let us not talk about the economy of the nation right now. So that becomes a challenge. So our problem is not because she doesn't know how to farm. Our problem is not that she doesn't farm right. Our problem is because someone sees oil in a particular farmland and feels that is more important than whatsoever that woman is doing. Then how do you now bring a regulation to now help address both, such that you are not asking those that are exploring to stop, but you are not also using your exploration to also affect.
So just find a balance.
Exactly.
Is what is being asked for at this point in time. Do your business, don't cause too much harm. And then in places where you see that it might cause harm, that's why we do have regulators in place. That's why we do have government institutions to say, okay, don't do this, except it's absolute. I know there's a little window in which a lot of them exploit a lot to say, okay, we have an emergency. I mean, they have very few reasons why they're allowed to flare their gas, and sometimes it escapes into the atmosphere and all of that. But a good number of them, because they know the penalty is very minimal, we're just like, let's flare it. We'll just know how to sort the government and we'll move on with that. You were talking about the Obunaga. Is that how it's pronounced?
I think I'll go with your own definition.
Obunaga in Bayelsa State, where there's a study going on there, a report as to how it is having an impact on them. That's where this cassava is coming. I mean, the clear example of how it affects agriculture.
We interviewed a woman and she was telling us she doesn't have any formal education. So if you take the woman and put her in a urban setting, she will almost not get any value from that. So over her lives in the last 3 decades, she had grown up to be a farmer, right? Lived by planting, feed her family by planting cassava, which she transforms into garri sometimes, plants yam, plants plantain, right? But over time, what she had done, or the harvest over the last 2-3 years, has always gone down. Now, even though you try to appeal to the woman and tell her sell at a higher price, it's not selling at a higher price, because the only way she makes her profit is if she sells more. Right now, what is the company? There's a company, oil company that is around that region. What are they doing to help just a woman in that community to help her sustain her livelihood? Right. We can talk about the bigger picture of how we also trying to capture methane from the atmosphere, such that we can also convert it so much for renewable energy. I mean, gas, cooking, and the likes. But that's on the bigger scale. Right, that's on a more country-based. The woman,
but then these things are not mutually exclusive. We can be talking about this woman and talking about how Nigeria can benefit.
So I'm saying it's a two-way side game that we have to, and that's why I like the point you mentioned when you talked about weakness of regulation. So not that the regulation are not there, it is how do we enforce it. Basically that.
Thank you for that. I mean, it's based on this, you are only one explanation. We need to explain the economic analysis of or economic effect or impact of methane emission in the woman, and I equally like what you mentioned about agriculture. I mean, when methane is up there in the black rain, what the effect on cropping. Then the general ecosystem, in terms of fishery, that's the blue economy, that is how it is affected. And you equally mentioned that of issue of health. You said something, apart from the respiratory aspect of it, increased asthmatic attack, there's equally issues of increase in cancer. In one of the Bayelsa towns, they've shown over time scientifically there's an increase in cancer occurrence because of that, and some other ailment that comes with that. So I mean, thank you for mentioning, as I said, agriculture, health aspect of the economic analysis aspect of it.
All right. Sorry to interject, but we need to run for a quick break. We'll continue after this break. Stay with us.